What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another post game here on Mets Central. As the Mets in Game 71 fall 8-4 to the Tampa Bay Rays. Just a horrible performance by Tyler McGill out there on the mound, putting his team behind the eight ball in this one. The Mets offense struggling against some of the lesser arms from the Rays pitching staff, but at the same time, just again, not getting enough traffic on the bases and not producing enough throughout this game. And when they did produce, it was in marginal ways. You would get a couple solo shots and nothing else really to show for it. Just an unfortunate loss as now the Mets lose the series to the Rays. Let's talk about it though. Before we jump into everything, leave a like on your way into the show, or if you're watching on replay, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, especially for Met fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live here on Met Central. But yeah, I mean, just poor defense played throughout this game as well. Really poor defense played. Here's the only thing that I'm sitting here as my cope, right? Because there is a way that I'm coping with the fact that they just lost the series to the Rays. And it's not the ideal way because I hate to do this and I hate to use this as a cope. But the only thing that is possibly keeping me mellow a little bit right now is the fact that going into this 9-game stretch between the Rockies, the Nationals, and the Rays, I wanted 7-2. And I was under the assumption that, okay, you sweep the Rockies, you win 2 out of 3 against the Nationals, you win 2 out of 3 against the Rays. And obviously, that did not occur. And after sweeping both those series, it was like, okay, now you have an opportunity to go 8-1 in this stretch. You got to get it done. And yesterday was just such a disgraceful performance from the manager and such a disgraceful performance from this team with runners in scoring position throughout the entire night. And you pissed on yourself. And then today, it gives you less room for error, which I had a bad feeling previewing this game going into it in the podcast episode because you have Drew Rasmussen, who has been unbelievable all season long, going against Tyler McGill, which what Tyler McGill are you going to get? You never know which Tyler McGill you are going to get. What side of the bed is he waking up on tonight or this morning? Because that's really the only way that you could find out. And once again, they got the Tyler McGill that shows up or doesn't show up, I should say, but shows up in the smallest way possible. And the thing that's concerning to me the most about this is now with Sangadown, it's going to be very difficult with this rotation right now because Paul Blackburn, I am not convinced is going to give you a good start on Wednesday. Is anyone convinced? And by the way, today would have been a really good day to have Paul Blackburn available, wouldn't it have? And instead, they used him yesterday. But I digress. Frankie Montas in his rehab start yesterday allowed, what was it, 8 runs? Let me get the exact stat line for you. Because apparently he's going to need just one more rehab start. Is anyone sold, though, on what he's going to do when he comes back? Yeah, 8 runs in 1 2/3 of an innings pitch, 7 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout on 53 pitches. And Manaea is still a bit away. It's going to be a brutal stretch here, especially against division rivals. And that's what worries me going into this stretch of games coming up. Like, honestly, forget about today, right? Forget about today. To a degree, obviously, it's absolutely blows, and we're going to talk about it. But honestly, after a game like today, I am very concerned going into this upcoming week because this is a game which that's where it kind of ties to this, where you should have won yesterday. And now you're sitting in a spot where and again, I know it's early to look at the standings and the division and everything, but these games all matter the same by the end. You're now 3.5 up on the Phillies and you're 13 up on Atlanta. But all of a sudden, if things go south, like it's possible, and I'm not saying they're going to get swept in these series, heaven forbid, but with the way the starting pitching staff is right now, and with the way this bullpen is right now, I don't feel confident going into these next stretch of games. And that's why I feel like it's even more important that you got to win a game like today. You got to win yesterday's game, more importantly, because you had it. At least today, it was kind of like you straight up got your ass kicked. But yesterday, you should have had. So that's where I'm a bit worried. That's stuff that I'll unpack more on the podcast, whether that's tomorrow or Monday, whenever we end up recording it, or Tuesday, even. I don't know yet. But either way, just really infuriating that Tyler McGill, I mean, you just cannot trust him right now. And I don't understand why this guy, every single time the calendar flips from April, it just like, it's just done with him. It's just done. He just can't pitch no more. And it's annoying because, and people won't want to hear it, but the stuff is always good with Tyler McGill. It's just always location with him. And he could not locate his breaking stuff today at all, which set it up on a silver platter to when he is throwing his breaking balls, the Rays are either crushing them or it tees him up because they know he's missing with the breaking stuff to where, oh, we're getting a fastball. I know it's a fastball because it's coming in the strike zone for once, and it's right on a tee for them. And that's what you saw today. And I can tell you right now that come the trade deadline, him or Blackburn, one of the two cannot be, or I mean, even both maybe should not even be on this roster right now. But either way, I didn't even get into talking about this because to start the game, even he hits the first batter he faces, just kind of setting the tone, I guess, for what was to come. And the third inning, he allows the double to Walls, and then Josh Lowe ends up getting a single to make it 1-0. And then Lau had a single, but he works out of it. Brett Beatty ties the game with a home run, crushes it. Good to see him actually get going. And then Lindor and Nimmo back-to-back hits with 2 outs. You get a double from Lindor. You get a single from Nimmo. You're up 2-1. And then Tyler McGill goes out there in the 4th inning and puts his team completely behind the 8 ball. Completely. I'm not going to kill him for the home run that Caminero hit because I mean, he threw a sinker completely inside of the zone, and he still crushed it. But then he hits the next batter. He allows a single to the backup catcher. I mean, he can't even get through the bottom of the lineup. And then he has a throwing error over at first base, which brought in a run. Then he allows a single to Brandon Lau, single to Diaz, walks Aranda, and then throws a wild pitch. I mean, you saw it all that inning. And then that scored a run. And then Caminero walks, and I don't understand how he was still in the game at that point. I really don't, because I get that you used so much of the bullpen yesterday because you had to, but this is my gripe with going back to yesterday's game even. This is why you got to focus on the game at hand, which yesterday I'm referring to, versus thinking what is going to happen tomorrow. And I get sometimes that applies otherwise, like in the playoffs, maybe you want to think about that stuff. And in general, like if a guy's fatigued, whatever. But yesterday, you had to go with a different game plan. And then you used up your bullpen, especially the multi-inning guys, and then it forced you in a situation where Tyler McGill gets through the order the second time through in that inning, faces Caminero, who started the inning, and then Castillo comes into the game. And then he allows a run too. I mean, allows a single. Walls got a double, which made it 7-2. But Ronnie Mauricio hit a home run in the 5th, and Nimmo had a single, which made it 7-4. And I'm thinking, all right, maybe they're at least showing a fight, and maybe they'll rope their way back in. Because that was against Rasmussen too. I'm like, all right, maybe. And then in the 6th inning, I mean, forget about it. Jose Budo comes in. Juan Soto poorly playing that ball in the outfield. Ends up being a hard hit triple, stand up triple, 8-4. And right then there, I'm like, I've seen enough. They're not going to do anything, and they got traffic on the bases in the 7th and in the 8th. Didn't matter though. Did not matter because not enough. I mean, just not enough traffic at all on the bases. At least getting runners at scoring position because they were 2 for 4 despite having 11 hits. Not getting runners at scoring position enough. You're getting just solo home runs throughout the game, which didn't help either. Nimmo had a 3 for 4 day. Lindor had a 2 for 4 day. And you got hits from the bottom of the order, which is not enough traffic on the bases, not enough runners in scoring position throughout the game. And then again, this pitching just not good enough for McGill. Castillo isn't anything special either, and they need Brooks Raley back. At least Stanek had a good outing, but Carson ended up tweeting it because we were breaking down Stanek, and there seems to be a correlation when Torrens catches versus when Alvarez catches. That Stanek seems to be way better with Luis Torrens catching, and I guess it's something about calling the pitches differently. That would be the only logical thing. Which maybe because we were talking about it on the podcast that he has not been throwing the splitter enough, and you saw him utilize the splitter a good amount more in this outing. Maybe it's something about Torrens actually calling for the splitter where Alvarez isn't. I'm gonna have to do a deep dive and research on that one, which is gonna take me a bit, but it's something that I'm very interested in because the numbers were just like night and day of a difference when Torrens catches versus when Alvarez does for Ryan Stanek. But I mean, that's about it for your positives here. And I guess your other positives is you have all of your high leverage arms for tomorrow, and you have an off day the next day. No reason to not win tomorrow because Boz has not had a good year either. And I know Canning has been shaky lately, but to me, there are no excuses for tomorrow because Brazaban's available. You have Garrett available. Diaz will be available. So, no excuse tomorrow. None at all. You got to at least salvage one from this series. But yeah, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat right now. Leave a like if you haven't, subscribe, and all that stuff. Very frustrating, though. Very, very frustrating. Not much traffic around the bases. It's okay. Only happens once in a while. Still, Beatty getting a home run and other is good. I mean, sure, but I need to see more consistently. Like that's the only thing where you saw Mauricio get a home run, you saw Beatty get a home run. Show it consistently now because those guys need to build off of what they did today. Otherwise, it doesn't matter, and two, my stance doesn't change then that they have to address those areas come the deadline. And yeah, Tyler McGill put them behind the 8 ball, man. Put them behind the 8 ball entirely. Just horrible. He's got to be sent down. I don't want to. I know the other day I was talking about how maybe you keep him around because it never hurts to have too much depth. No, maybe it's recency bias now from seeing this today. No, I'm over it. I'm over dealing with this. I'm over dealing with Tyler McGill. If it works out for him somewhere else, good for him. Great. I have nothing against Tyler McGill, the person. But in terms of just him on the mound, I am over it. I am frustrated, and it sucks because I truly believed that things were going differently for him. Like I know we do it every April, but I really thought I'm such an idiot that I really thought this April. I'm like with with the way the slider has more movement on it this year. I'm like maybe it's actually different for once. maybe it's actually sustainable. And it looked that way. And then all of a sudden, it's just like calendar flips to May, like we said, and then poof, it's just gone. Worst pitching inning by a long shot. I mean, it had everything. And I feel so bad for the fans in attendance today. You had to wait an hour for the rain delay to watch that performance. I feel so bad for everyone in that building. Rough day to go to the game. McGill is an abomination. Cannot come back soon enough. He's got to go. He's got to go. And yeah, I mean, sure, you could give credit to Tampa because they do average a lot of runs, but at the same time, I mean, this pitching staff for a couple of weeks now has kind of been a little bit more shaky lately, and it's very concerning when you head into three of the biggest series of the season because I forgot they play the Braves, Phillies, and then the Braves again. I love the way the MLB is scheduling games this year because it's just so stupid that they're scheduling games this way. So stupid because they just did that with the Rockies, where it's like Rockies, Dodgers, Rockies, Dodgers, White Sox. Ooh, throw at least another series in there. Rockies, Dodgers. Like what are we doing with these? And then the Diamondbacks too. Like they had the Diamondbacks, then they had the Cardinals, and then the Diamondbacks again. What are we doing? Space these games out a little bit more. I don't get it. Really, just don't understand that entire thing. I mean, coming up to it later on, July, the end of July, they have a series against the Giants, and then their first series of August against the Giants. Padre series in the middle of that. It's just very, very weird the way that these games are scheduled this year. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. Another thing I noticed with this team, way too many solo home runs, frustrating. You know, you're not alone with thinking that because I was actually looking it up and I want to get the list now of teams that have the most solo home runs on the season because I felt that way too. I'm like, the Mets definitely have to have the most, right? They don't, but they are sixth. They're sixth in the league in solo home runs. The Yankees are first with 109, but you also have to remember a lot of that was because a lot of that's boosted from that opening series against the Brewers because my goodness, did they just feast on them. But you have the Dodgers in second at 106, 100 for the Diamondbacks, 97 for the Cubs, 96 for the Angels of all teams, and then 89 for the Mets in sixth. So, and they're tied with the Mariners at 89. But it's definitely something that I thought about too. So I'm glad at least I'm not alone with, having that thought during the game. Ray Garrett will have a life-changing performance tomorrow. Hopefully. Hopefully. Hopefully we actually get to see him because that means that the Mets are winning the game. Or I mean, if they want to blow out the race tomorrow, that would work too. But then again, I mean, do I want to see them throw in some of the other guys, the mop-up guys, even if they have a big lead to make it closer? I'm good. All right, I'm gonna wrap things up here. Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live. And I'll see you guys in the next one.